Okay, good evening. Well, as I look out there, one thing is already clear. I'm the best dressed guy in here. So, that's right, it's okay. I'm glad but I'm glad there are enough ladies in this room because, guys lose attention span after about 5 to 10 minutes. So, since Mitch asked me to speak for 3 hours, you ladies will be with me still after 10 minutes or so. That's good to know that somebody will pay attention. But it's interesting when you look at a group of people like that, and no kidding. And in my industry, we are a very young industry. You usually see around, people are very young that work in our industry. And so when I talk to the hotels, by the way, I was with Ritz-Carlton until we had 55 hotels. I opened Hotel 1 and Hotel 55, then I left and started another hotel company, but not advertising, just to tell you a little bit here. And so when I opened every hotel, every Ritz-Carlton, I went there for training, every one. I opened this hotel, I trained the people here, and so on. So around the world. When I spoke to those young people in our industry, and I still do, it's fascinating that even those young people, always somebody falls asleep. But here's the thing. It's always a guy. And particularly when you see these young people, and I always hope that the young ladies look around and see if a guy falls asleep, stay away from this guy. I mean, what do you think, if he falls asleep with 28, what do you think he's going to do with 40 at home? No, really. But so, anyway, I just talk a little bit always in the beginning so people get used to my accent. Nothing relevant, but there's still, it's a fact, it's true. People and the guys, and also some guys, here's some guys. They look, of course, even the ladies now, they look at their handies, as if that was important, as if they couldn't. Look at the handy at midnight, for crying out loud. Now, this is important. The handy is not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to repeat on the handy what is at midnight, but everything else will be still there at midnight. So pay attention. And the guys, here's what the guys do too. Always guys, it's interesting. Talk for a while, always then goes like that. And I said, well, maybe they want to become ceiling engineers or something like that. Who knows? Who knows? But tonight, so what is a hotel guy going to tell you about your business tonight? Well, just so you know, yes, I'm in the hotel business. Yes, I started Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company. Yes, I'm still in the hotel business. But I'm going to talk about customer satisfaction, which incidentally is not only important in the hotel business. And I have worked with banks, with retail, with car companies, with car dealerships, with hospitals, and all with a law firm, and worked on the issue with them and consulted with them, with a number of them, of customer satisfaction. That's what I'm going to talk about today, mainly, unless I think about something else. I will say that too. In my age, you can say whatever you want. What are you going to do, fire me? So we're going, but understand one thing. What I'm going to tell you tonight about, and I better watch my time because I tend to get carried away about those things. And I'm not really supposed to talk 3 hours. But one thing I'm going to tell you right very clear now. What I'm going to talk to you about this customer satisfaction thing, which certainly you should be interested in, I talk about facts. If for some reason, whatever I tell you, you don't agree, it means you're wrong. Because I talk about facts. So let's see. Let's look, first of all, what is a great organization? A great functioning organization. A great functioning organization, in my opinion, does 4 things. Number 1, what it does, it keeps the customer. It doesn't lose customers. Or customers, when I say customers, patrons, patients, doesn't matter what you call a guest. I may call it anything tonight. Of course, it's all the same. Those people that buy something from us. A company understands the worst thing you do, it costs more money to find a new customer than keep an old one, to keep one. The number 1 objective If you walk into any one of my hotels, you ask any employee, go and ask a busboy, what is your objective here? The front desk, the cook, anybody, they will answer you to keep the guest. The objective is not checking people in. The objective is by checking them in to keep them. The objective is not to clean the tables, but by cleaning the table, the way they do it, the way they handle, to keep the guest. Number one, a great organization keeps the customer, period. A great organization also does 3 more things, but those 3 things cannot interfere with number 1. Let's understand that. Number 2, of course, a great organization finds new customers, but mostly through the existing ones. Number 2. Number 3, what you do is get as much money from the customer as you can. We're in business. But wait a minute, without losing them. I can tell you, for the Christmas week, and now for the Christmas week in a couple of our hotels, we are running an average rate of $2,500. But by February 1st, last year by February 1st, 70% had rebooked already for this year, for this last Christmas. So with other words, it was not too expensive. Value for dollar. Get as much as you can, but create as much value so you can charge as much as you can. But incidentally, the loyal customers spends more, is willing to spend more, and buys more from you. So understand, keep the customer, get new ones, get as much money as you can, and then be efficient about it. And then, of course, on all 4 subjects, you could make a long speech. I'm speaking mostly today about keeping the customer, because that is number 1. That's number 1 thing you do. And the other 3 things cannot interfere with number 1. So keeping the customer. So how do we keep the customer? That's the issue. Those are the discussions we have to have. How do we keep the customer? Well, we keep the customer by doing for the customer what the customer wants. That's simple. That sounds simple, but it's not happening. It's not happening on there. Companies do what they think they should do for the customer, rather than understanding what the customer wants and doing for the customer, and doing for the guest, doing for the patient, doing for the client what the customer wants. So what do they want? How do I know what they want? Well, there are 3 things the customer wants, that every customer wants, no matter what you buy, no matter what you purchase, services, products, it doesn't matter. You, the consumer, wants the same thing. Now, so if I know those 3 things everybody wants, well, then I better have processes to deliver that, and have an attitude to deliver that. Besides those 3 things, the individualized expectation. Besides those 3 things, what everybody then has individual demands. If I deliver those individual demands also, I have a great product. Now, what you want to do is create that customer loyalty that I talk about. Keep the customer. We have to understand, what is customer loyalty? What's the meaning behind it? If you study it, and we have analyzed that, believe me, it has all been verified very scientifically, what I tell you. Customer loyalty means nothing but the customer, if you're loyal to a company, you have developed trust in that company and its product. You have developed trust. That's why you're loyal. It's trust in the product and in the people of that organization. So, with other words, you want to create trust. So how am I going to create that trust? Well, again, you give the guest, the customer, what they want. So what is it they want? You give them those 3 things. If you give those 3 things that I'm going to give you, if you give them consistently all the time, after a while, the customer will develop trust. If you give him those 3 things, plus individualize the service to that customer, then the trust comes much faster, very fast. So there's 2 ways of creating trust. The 3rd way of creating trust is by excellence in problem resolution. I will touch on those 3 things. So what is it they want? Let's stay with that first. You want 3 things if you buy anything at all. I always give, because usually as a speaker you have a bottle of water there. I don't have one today. I usually give that as an example. What if you buy a bottle of water? a bottle of water. What do you expect? You have subconscious expectation. Incidentally, the subconscious is stronger than the conscious. What's your subconscious expectation when you buy anything? You buy a bottle of water. What do you expect subconsciously? You want it to be defect-free. You don't want the mistakes in there. You don't want it to leak. You don't consciously think about, but that's what you want from your product, to be defect-free. The car, defect-free. The house, the legal service, anything. You wanted the product to be defect-free, the perceived product. Number two, what you want is timeliness. You want it when you want it, not when they decide to give you. And timeliness, incidentally, is of extreme importance today. You're all, average of you is 2 years younger than I am. So what you do in your average age in this place, you are so much more demanding in time than anyone before you. I can tell you, when your father checked in to our early Ritz-Carlton hotels, we knew during heavy check-in, we knew exactly during heavy check-in in the evening that if your father didn't wait longer than 4 minutes, he was fine. She, your mother, your father, it doesn't matter. They were fine. So after 3 minutes wait, we timed it. The line was 3 minutes. We went out with a drink or we talked to them and so on, because 4 minutes was a cut. And today, 20 seconds. You, 20 seconds, and you get already mad. Those are facts. Ladies and gentlemen, those are facts. We better know that. So what am I doing about this? That timeliness has to do with everything you do. Responding to calls, responding to emails, follow up, etc., etc. Are you sure you're managing your timeliness? Are you sure the product is being managed? Are you working on the processes to make sure that your product is defect-free? That's what we have to do. What is our process? Where are defects? And of course, there's a long conversation the way to eliminate defects. By the way, the elimination of defects is I'm sure some of you know it, you do that by continuous improvement. By understanding the defect, understanding where mistakes happen, look for the root cause, eliminate the root cause, and the defect will never happen again. Permanently is eliminated, that defect. For that reason, because you eliminated the root cause. By the way, when you do that, and do it, and if you don't do that, if you don't look, if you're not anxious to know where the defects are, so you can eliminate it, and you have a problem right there. Because in any organization has to be possessed in the elimination of defect. Because every time you eliminate a defect, you improve your product, and consequently eventually create customer loyalty, and you lower cost. Because if you have a defect, you do rework and double work and pay and apologize, and all that costs money. So no defect, timeliness. And the next thing that you expect, you want that bottle of water when you want it. You want a defect. And you want the people that give it to you to be nice to you. Wow. And that piece is called service. That piece of being nice is called service. We call it service. It's being nice, delivering it in a nice way, caring way. Let's talk about that piece, because that's the piece, ladies and gentlemen, don't argue it in your mind. That's the piece that drives loyalty much faster than the other two pieces. I will prove it to you in some stories that I share with you. Driving the caring, creating a process behind caring. Do you have a process behind caring? Do you have a process for your people to be sure that they care? And every company talks about their service. There's so many companies talk about service. Service drives the customer satisfaction. I had an incident very recently with my wife, who is with me. I came home, and my wife does everything in my house. I'm gone, I work, and my wife does everything. I don't know. I said, all of a sudden there are workers there. I said, what's happening? Well, we're fixing the roof. Oh, okay. So we have a new roof being built. And I come home, and there are those guys working down there, and there's these guys on the roof, and these guys down there, they help, they put the stuff, and then they send it upstairs. And I drive home, and they were very nice. They said, hello, sir, good evening. Wow, the workers there. And I was wondering what's going on. They were friendly and nice to me. And then the next day I had to leave with the car, and there was a truck in the way, and I said, I have to leave. I said, I'm sorry, sir. And he ran to the car and moved their truck away so I can travel on. I said, wow. I came home that evening again. They were very nice. And I went in and said, Sherry, they are really good roofers. And she said, sorry. She said, how do you know? Did he go to the roof up there? Did he have a look? And she knew I wouldn't go up there. How do you know? But I built an opinion. So would you. We build an opinion based on the relationship that is given to us by the human being. Now that human being, those roofers were supported by all kind of new technology that I have never seen. There's a ladder, and there's a thing on the ladder that actually drives up the ladder and takes the stuff up. Wow! And even roofing is involved in technology. Our business too. We're supporting it though in order to do the product right and do the relationship right. All technology, whatever the technology, all the stuff that's out there, and we're doing that in hotel business. Believe me, there's so much technology in hotel business today, but what we're doing it for? To make sure we can care more for the customer and be sure that we have less defects. So the caring piece is truly the one that drives satisfaction more than anything else. So we will talk in a moment how caring, but let me give you one more story about this caring. And mind you, that caring piece delivered by service. What is service? By the way, how you define service. All those companies that advertise and talk about the service, go and ask any of the employee how you define it. It's nothing. Service says, it must mean something. So if I don't know, really, I can't define it, I can't process it. But I have to process, make sure it happens. So what is service? Service starts a certain time. It starts the instant when the customer perceives that they have made contact with you. It doesn't start 3 seconds later. When do they feel they have contact with you? In our business, the actual customer, you the guest, you perceive, if you know it or not, subconsciously, that within 12 feet that you made contact with us, with the human being. But you perceive that you made contact with the moment when you see the sign that, there's the hotel. In that moment, you make contact. So that's the first step of service. In a human sense is, hello, good morning, good afternoon, welcome. We teach our people, mind you, I'm gone from Ritz-Carlton quite a few years, 12 years or so. But we teach the people within 12 feet, no matter what you're doing, you look at them and say hello, good morning, good afternoon. Contact, and immediately saying, you are important to me. That's the message we're giving you. And if you know that you are important to me, you will start trusting me. It is trust you want to accomplish. It's trust to make sure that you can tie your customer for life to you, to your company. The first step of service is essential. Welcome. In fact, again, once more, subconscious, it is a very important moment. It is more powerful than most of the stuff that follows after. It is deeper, unless you really mess up afterwards. If you make this moment excellent, how do you handle your moment? How do you handle your moment when the customer make contact with you? What about in your telephone? How do you handle the moment on the telephone? That first moment. By the way, if it rings more than 3 times, the customer feels subconsciously that you're being ignored. It's not good, the first step of service. And then call your office tomorrow morning. Call your office. What happens? You call, it rings, and if you're lucky, a human being answers, and they say, oh, instead of saying, this is Joe, I'm here to help you. How may I help you? The first 10 seconds, you establish with the way you answer what they think about you, your company. The first step of service is welcome. How may I help you? I'm here for you. You're important to me. In every communication that we make, this has to happen. The second step of service is complying to the wishes of the customer. Of course, many things you know that they wish, and you prepare for it. You organize for it. You have technology for it. You have everything for it. We know that you want a clean room, and we know we use a vacuum cleaner to clean it. That's technology, by the way. It's not all technology, but technology. So you comply to the customer's expectations and wishes. That's the next step of service. Complying caringly. I'm happy to do that for you. If somebody, I always say, if you open the door and you ask the housekeeper, can I have another pillow? The housekeeper shouldn't say, yes, okay. I'm happy to. I'm here for you. In fact, I'm glad that you asked me for something. Because every time a customer asks for something, that's your opportunity to convince them to keep on dealing with you. It's not your opportunity just to do something. It's your opportunity. This is my chance to convince him, her, to deal with me. Welcome. And then the complying, the caring complying, the showing that we actually like to do, that actually want there to help you. That's with the eyes, with the words, with the behavior. I'm here for you. Welcome, I'm here for you. I'm happy to do that. My pleasure. And the third step of service is saying, thank you for allowing us to serve you. Thank you for allowing us to work with you. Have a nice day. It's goodbye, with other words. Welcome, comply, goodbye. That's really what we're doing all day long in any business. In any different forms, obviously, but it's really what we're doing in any business. Welcome. And let me, to drive it home, and I've told this story about 1,000,000 times, and I always, every time Nelly, when I make a speech, somebody who had heard me before comes to me and says, tell the bank story. Because somehow it makes sense to people. So let me tell you the bank story. Bank story is very simple. I was 25 years ago or so, I was asked to talk to the management of a major bank in Chicago. I knew the bank. I've never been in the bank, but I knew them because on my radio station that I have set on my car, they advertised their service while I lived in Chicago. Now I went back to Chicago, and the day before I was there, and I thought I better go into that bank because tomorrow morning I speak to their 200 managers about customer service. I better walk into that bank, and so that if somebody asks me, have you been in the bank before, I can say, yeah, of course I have. So sure enough, I go to the bank. Now go with me for a moment in your mind. Understand what service is. Understand that is what service is. And they advertise service. Let me ask you, what else does a bank do? That's their very product is service. Their very product. They don't print money, they don't make money. Their very product is to serve a person relative to their financial situation. And here I'm going into that bank, and go with me. And there's a big bank. It's stately, beautiful. The surrounding is wow. You can feel as you walk in that there's money all around you. Maybe even stuffed in the marble pillars. And I look around, and all the way over there was a huge counter, mahogany. And in front of the maze, and I step into the maze. And mind you, welcome, comply, farewell. First step thing is, you remember, even the guys remember that much still here in the room. So I'm in that maze. Now I go into the maze and I count the people in front of me in the maze, and there were 24 people, literally, in front of me in the maze. And then I counted the tellers. There were actually 24 working tellers. Very, very fast, I was number one. I am number one all of a sudden. Very fast. Timeliness, good timeliness. And I look left. I don't know why I looked left. If my wife wasn't here, I would tell you probably there was a pretty teller over there, but I looked left. And somebody on the right screams, next! Oh. That was the first step of service was next. I went to her counter, I went to her teller. Men are worse, by the way. There happened to be a lady. And she looked down, finishing a transaction for 2 seconds, whatever. And I could tell I don't know her, and she obviously doesn't know me. And when she looked up, though, it was totally clear that she hated me. And she said, yes, yes. First step of service. Next and yes. And I said, I just want to change $50. And she sighed for a moment. 10, 40, 45, 50. And take the money and look. Next. Okay. That wasn't me, that was for the next guy. And I counted my product was correct. I had proper change. There was no flaw in the product. The timeliness was correct too. But the customer satisfaction was negative. In fact, I told this story after the next 15 years, I mentioned the name of the bank. And literally, I talked about the bank, not about Susie or whatever her name was. That's the thing. Whatever your organization, the guys in your organization does besides you, establishes who you are. It helps to establish who you are. Be aware of it. You establish who the company are. And by the way, if you like it or not, you're defined very much by what company you work for. You define yourself by the excellence of your company. So you're not just working, you're defining yourself by the excellence that you create or not create. So this is what happened there. So what if the lady would have said, the next gentleman, please? That's all she had to do. And I come to our counter and said, how may I help you? Just want to change $50. My pleasure. Here's the change. Have a nice day. Thank you. All of a sudden, from dissatisfaction, I moved to satisfaction. The product was the same. The product hadn't changed. But I moved from dissatisfaction to satisfaction. What if she would have said, the next gentleman, please? And I come to a counter to her place, and she said, welcome, Mr. Schulze. Called me by name, personalized. You see, if you personalize, individualize, the loyalty comes very, very fast. Personal and individualized. And I said, just want to change $50. And she said, that's my pleasure, Mr. Schulze. 10, 20, 45, and here are $5 coins because I know you collect coins. Individualized. Now my product is individualized and personalized and defect-free and timely. Now I'm immediately moving to loyalty. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. That's a fact. Then you can translate that into your very situation. And what role does technology play? Technology only plays the role to make sure you can do it defect-free all the time, as often and as fast as possible, and it costs you as little as possible. That's what a great organization is. And a great organization helps each other do that. How do you do it for yourself? How do you do it through your people? That's another question. That's a total another question. By being a leader. Simply by being a leader and not a manager. I can tell you from experiences in my own unscientific study, that's not a fact, but it's my belief based on my experience, that maybe only 10% are truly leaders, and the rest are managers. Managers do things, and leaders have a purpose, have a vision, have a dream, what they do, and their dream always includes excellence in what they're doing. Leaders know, I define myself by what I'm doing, but my work, because let's face it, the greatest part of our waking life is done at work. So how do we define ourselves? And nobody tells me how to do that. Those are facts. You define yourself very much based on the job that you're doing and what company you're connected to. So how are you going to do that? How do that? Well, lead yourself. Make the decision. It is not a feeling that you wait for to create excellence. It's a decision to control the feeling. It's a decision to direct your feeling to create excellence. You shouldn't go to work. You should go to your place of work to create excellence for a purpose. And a leader has a purpose. A leader has a dream, what he or she can accomplish. Have you test yourself if you're a leader? Not now. Wait till you're in your room. Have you closed your eyes and said, this is what I'm going to accomplish with my area of work? This is what I'm going to accomplish. Have you seen something beautiful a year down the road or whatever it is? If you haven't done that, you're a manager. You're managing situations and technology and so on. That has to happen. But if you're a leader for your own and become a person of purpose for yourself at work, you see that. And you see that for your employees, ladies and gentlemen. If you have employees, you have to give them purpose. It's your moral obligation to give them purpose. And if you give them purpose, you show them the vision and the dream and show them it is excellent. And you know that excellence that you're seeking is good for all concerned. That is you, that is them, that's the company, and that's society. If you have a dream, You have to question yourself, is this dream good for all concerned? And then, all concerned again, is the organization, it's you, it's your employees, it's society. If it is good for all concerned, go for it. That is being a leader. And that leadership has to include, of course, excellence. And excellence has to include that the customer feels great about you. Without it, you are nothing, no matter what you do. It has to be great about you. And if you do that, it has to be that the customer thinks that you care for them. That the customer knows that you care for them. Because of what you do and what your employees do. You align your employees. The way you align your employees is by selecting the right employees. By selecting the right employees and orient them in the right way to your organization and your department. All of your leaders, and some of you have employees, and if I miss that in a conversation here, I cannot miss it. You align them. You know, Covey used to make speeches, and he asked everybody to stand up, and then he said to everybody, point north. And everybody got up, and everybody pointed different directions. And he said, that's just about how every company works. Because companies are not aligned. They're not aligned behind a dream, behind a vision, behind something beautiful. Seek for your own department. Don't wait. And then others, or of course, most people don't say, when you have that conversation, say, well, yes, the company, wait a minute, you wait. Leadership of self is leadership. And of course, it is aligned to the company. And the employees consequently align, and consequently, employees have a purpose. And that's how you create it. And once they have a purpose, and they understand, every human being in the organization understand that one of the purposes is not to lose a single guest, not to lose a single customer. That's leadership. In fact, the model of leadership, allow me to give you that. The model of leadership starts with a vision, with a dream, with excellence, with seeing excellence down the road. If the model continues by being committed to that excellence, it then continues with the implementation in the steps that take you toward that excellence. That individual leadership within an organization and supporting the dream and the vision of the organization, that's individual leadership. Supporting that excellence, and then, of course, giving your employees that vision and purpose. That's the right thing. Not hiring employees to fulfill a certain function. That's one of the big mistakes of organizations. They hire people to fulfill a certain functions. In a hotel business, to make beds, to cook food, to clean dishes, and so on. Ladies and gentlemen, the chair on which you're sitting is fulfilling a functions. We are hiring human beings, which we have to align to our dreams and our vision. And we have to explain the dream and the vision and the orientations that we have. How do we orient people when they come new to work for you? How do you orient them? Do you make the team speech? We're a team here. Yeah, we're a team here. Now go to work. Here, Susie, work with Joe over here. He knows the ropes. So Susie goes and works with Joe. With Joe. And Joe tells her in 5 minutes, this is the worst company. That's her orientation to what you're doing. Instead of you saying, here is our dream, join me. Don't come to work here, but join me for the dream. And work in order for the dream and for nothing else, not for work itself. I personally go to work for 2 reasons, ladies and gentlemen. And that is great excellence. And to be with my friends. That's a decision I make. It's not a feeling that I wait for. It's a decision that I make. And just to embarrass my wife, she will tell me off afterwards, but now I'm macho, I'm staying here, she cannot argue right now. You know, I'm married 37 years. I don't only love her, I'm in love with her. That's a decision I made. I don't wait for the feeling. What do you mean? That's what they say. Talk to your friends who are getting divorced. We don't feel like it anyway. Well, baloney. Who is control here? You, the feeling, or you? It's no different at work, ladies and gentlemen, but particularly for managers. Managers, leaders, remember, vision, commitment to the vision, initiate the step to get to the vision. And now comes number 4. That's the management model. Now comes number 4, where everybody breaks down. Nearly everybody. That is keeping focus on the vision. Not being sidetracked, not finding reasons, excuses as to why it cannot be done. If the organization has a vision, you have no right. Management, leaders, you're supposed to be the leaders and management of this company. I don't know what you're doing. In my opinion, you have no right to make excuses. You have forfeited the right to make excuses. Once the vision is set, the commitment has to be commitment. That doesn't mean everything goes right. That doesn't mean you don't fall on your face. Right in the mud, you are committed. You are obligated to stand up and look right back at the vision and move forward the vision. That is leadership. That's the model of leadership. But the world is full of excuses. Let me give you a typical example in a business. We opened our Ritz-Carltons, we reopened our hotel in Boston, we bought it and reopened it after renovation. In the second year of operation, we sit down, make the budget. And it was very clear, we can, based on arrival patterns and everything that's happening in Boston, 68% occupancy in January. We ran 55%. Now, I could tell about 1 million stories like that, and so can you. 55, I called the general manager and said, hey, what happened? Occupancy. Oh, yeah, Boston. Wow, snow, storms, ice. Wow, January. I said, I know, I saw it on TV, but I actually didn't call for the weather. What happened with the occupancy? What? That's why. I said, no. I'm going to ask you again. I don't want to hear about the weather. What happened? Silence. I said, come on, are you still there? Yes. Why didn't you talk to me? Well, you're getting mad. I said, I don't want excuses. We all make excuses. You see, for him it was, listen, leaders, listen. He felt totally great. He had no problem. He had excuse. The explanation, there was a good explanation. What do you want? There's a great explanation here. Here's the problem with those explanations. Nothing beautiful is in the explanation. The vision has beauty, has successes, has recognition, has more money. The vision has everything. The explanation why it didn't happen has nothing. Even though for a moment you may feel good about it. Nothing it has. It doesn't give you anything. It doesn't have future for you nor for your people. A leader focuses on the vision no matter what. A leader, once it can be thought about it, he will focus. Why do we focus on the vision? Why we focus on explanation, excuses? Because we find one. As soon as we have a vision, you will find one. You find a reason why it might not be able to be done. Because you want to protect your ego in case you don't make it. Dismiss it. But if you don't make it, but you have no reason, you have no right as a leader to look for the excuse. The leader leads. It implies that you're going towards something and not stop somewhere on the way toward the destination. You take it and lead it. And I submit to you, if you don't lead your people toward caring for the customer, toward the fact that the organization, number one, needs to keep the customer that we have. Number one needs that you measure. We measure it. You probably do too. I don't know. I don't know what you do. We measure in our company ongoing. How many percent of the guests on a scale of 1 to 10, we only count top box. I expect 90% plus to say, I want to come back and want to recommend you. That's the minimum 90%. Otherwise, I intercede. In fact, we had a hotel in New York, and I moved, when it didn't move up, I moved there for 3 months until it was 90%. That is what it has to be, because I know, otherwise we run out of customers. And we move heaven and earth to keep that customer. Just a word on problem resolution, because I said that creates loyalty too. So if you do the three things ongoing, you create loyalty. If you do the three things plus individualization and personalization, you create loyalty very fast. Trust in you. And the other thing is, if you're excellent in problem resolution, if a problem happens, you take well care of it. Let me tell a problem. Let me give you an example, because we made a study, a loyalty study. It's about hotel, but you will get in a moment what I mean. We made a loyalty study, and we run and said at the time, let's make a study at the same time what they mean when they want to feel at home in our hotels. I didn't get it. What do they mean? What do you mean? Why do you come here if you want to feel at home? Stay at home. So I want to know what that really means in the mind of the customer and the subconscious. We hired a word analyst to study that. And it turned out he didn't want to feel at home. And the guy came back and said, you won't believe this. This is very fascinating. They want to feel like in the memory, in the subconscious, another subconscious piece, very powerful. In the subconscious memory, they felt in their mother's home. That's how they want to feel. Because in the mother's home, when you open the fridge, there was stuff that they liked. The grass was cut, and they never wondered who cut it. The bulbs were, nobody, you didn't have to wonder. No worry, total free, end life the way you liked it. That's what they want. But there's one more big thing. I'm talking about problem resolution. When something went wrong, and they went to their mother and said, Mom, there's something wrong here. Mom never said, I called the manager. She said, come here, I take care. I'm here to take care of you. That's what I want. I am here for you. That's what I want. And that's what I want. And that creates loyalty, excellence, and problem resolution. So those are the three things that create loyalty. The repeat excellence, no mistake, or the added individualization and personalization, or excellence and problem resolution. That's how you create loyalty. Now, of course, that's an ongoing subject, and you use every means to allow you to do this. Every system, every means. The right hiring, the right orientation, the right relationship with your employees, the right technology, every means to deliver this piece so that you have loyalty. So you create respect for your company. Who is your company? You are your company. So you create respect for you and the future and excellence and recognition. And if you do that, if you go to work to create that rather than work, you can create it. And if you create the same environment for your employees where they see purpose in your work, don't go to work anymore. It's crazy. Go to work to create excellence and live for a purpose. Thank you very much. And I'm only a few minutes over. Thank you very much.